Most men think women are mysterious, unpredictable, impossible to read. But here's the truth. A woman rarely says what she means. She implies it, especially when it comes to desire. She may not tell you she wants you. Instead, she'll speak in subtle codes, emotional tones, and disguised curiosity. The words might sound innocent, but the meaning behind them can be charged with intent. And if you know what to listen for, you'll see it long before she ever makes a move. Because when attraction is real, she won't confess it directly. She'll test it emotionally first. She'll say things that sound like small talk, but what she's really doing is checking how you respond. She's gauging your confidence, your energy, your composure. And if you fail to read that signal, she'll retreat, telling herself you didn't feel the same. Not because she lost interest, but because your uncertainty killed the spark before it could ignite. Now, what most men miss is that women communicate desire through permission, not pressure. They'll open small doors, not throw them wide open. They'll give you cues wrapped in comfort, softness, or curiosity. Things like, "You're different from other guys," or "You make me feel so calm around you." To the untrained ear, it's just a compliment. But to a man who understands psychology, that's an emotional key. She's saying, "I feel safe enough with you to be myself." And safety is the emotional prelude to intimacy. But here's where most guys go wrong. They get too excited, too reactive, too fast. They take a single compliment as a green light and rush in, turning subtle attraction into awkward tension. They don't understand that when a woman hints at desire, she's not giving you permission to chase. She's giving you permission to lead. The difference is everything. Leading means staying composed, reading her energy, letting the tension build naturally until her curiosity becomes undeniable. When a woman wants you, her body language, her words, even her silences start to change. But it's not about manipulation. It's about emotional rhythm. The kind of rhythm only calm, grounded men can keep. The Stoic man doesn't react to her signals with hunger. He responds with certainty. He knows attraction isn't about speed, it's about timing, presence, and emotional control. And because he moves with patience, she feels something she can't explain, a magnetic pull toward his steadiness. So today, we're not just decoding words, we're decoding energy. We'll break down the subtle phrases, emotional cues, and psychological hints women give when attraction turns physical, and how to respond like the kind of man who doesn't chase desire. He inspires it. Because once you learn to hear what she's really saying, you'll never have to ask if she wants you. Her tone, her eyes, and her silence will tell you everything. Before we start, a quick reminder. My complete Stoic Couple course is now live at thestoiccouple.Podia.com. If you've been learning from these videos, that's just the surface. Inside the course, we go deeper, mastering attraction, understanding female psychology, and rebuilding your mindset from the inside out. Join once, and you're in for life, with lifetime access to all future courses, books, and new lessons. Plus, you'll be part of our private Stoic community, a brotherhood where men like you grow together in discipline, power, and self-control. It's available in English and Spanish, and you can enroll instantly at thestoiccouple.Podia.com or click the link below. Enroll once, grow forever. Let's begin. Section number 1. Desire begins in comfort, not tension. Attraction doesn't start in the bedroom. It begins in the mind. Every woman wants to feel safe before she allows herself to feel anything deeper. She may smile, tease, or even flirt lightly. But underneath it all, she's asking one silent question. Can I relax around this man? Because when a woman feels truly at ease, when she senses calm energy instead of pressure, something inside her begins to open. She starts to associate your presence with peace. And that's when desire quietly begins to grow. Most men ruin this without even realizing it. They think attraction means intensity, fast moves, constant validation. They rush to prove they're interested instead of letting her feel it. But women don't respond to men who chase. They respond to men who breathe. The Stoic man understands that the first stage of connection isn't excitement, it's emotional comfort. When you can sit across from her, confident in silence, grounded in your energy, she begins to feel something rare: safety without boredom, attention without pressure. That combination is irresistible. Think about it. When a woman starts to feel comfortable enough to lower her guard, her language changes. She stops performing. Her laughter becomes real. Her body posture softens. Her eyes linger a little longer than before. She starts to make small invitations, not through explicit words, but through emotional vulnerability. She might say things like, "I don't usually open up like this," or "I feel like I can be myself with you." Those aren't just comments, they're doorways. In that moment, she's not testing your humor or looks. She's testing your presence. And yet, this is where many men fail the test. They interpret comfort as friendship. They overtalk, overshare, or rush to turn it physical too soon. What they don't realize is that desire doesn't need to be forced. It needs to be allowed. When she feels emotionally safe, her own mind starts creating the attraction for you. She begins to imagine what it would feel like to be close to someone who doesn't need to impress her. And the more you remain grounded, the more her imagination does the work you'll never have to. The Stoic man's power is in his patience. He doesn't mistake calm energy for weakness. He understands that what separates boys from men is composure. When she flirts, he smiles. When she withdraws, he stays relaxed. He knows that her comfort is the bridge between emotional connection and physical attraction. So he focuses not on what he wants from her, but on what his presence communicates to her: stability, control, and ease. Because the truth is, before a woman desires your body, she desires your energy. She wants to feel that she can trust her instincts around you. She wants to know that even if attraction grows, you won't lose yourself in it. That's the paradox. The calmer you are, the stronger the tension becomes. When she feels safe in your silence, she starts to crave what she can't define. And that's when desire quietly begins to take root. Section number 2. Her words. Reveal her curiosity, not her plans. When a woman is attracted to you, she doesn't confess it directly. She tests it indirectly. She uses words not to tell you what she wants, but to see how you respond. This is one of the most misunderstood parts of female communication. A woman's curiosity is her way of exploring your confidence without risking rejection. She might say something as simple as, "You're different," or "I don't usually talk like this with guys." On the surface, it sounds like a compliment, but beneath it, she's watching how you handle that small moment of power. If you get nervous, flattered, or overly reactive, she'll sense uncertainty. If you start showing off, overtalking, or trying too hard to impress, she'll feel your ego instead of your presence. But if you stay calm, grounded, and respond with subtle confidence, maybe a slow smile or a relaxed, "Is that right?" she'll feel it instantly, because women don't just listen to your words, they feel your energy. What you say matters far less than the energy behind it. When she starts asking personal or emotionally loaded questions, "Do you always seem this calm?" Or "What kind of women do you like?" Those aren't casual questions, they're emotional invitations. She's trying to find out whether you're self-aware, whether you can handle emotional intimacy without losing your balance. It's her way of seeing if you're a man of depth or just another man chasing surface-level validation. Here's where most men miss the mark. They hear these subtle phrases and rush to fill the silence, to say something clever or seductive. They think the goal is to convince her. But in reality, she's not listening for your logic. She's feeling your presence. Women communicate in emotion, not structure. The more you overthink, the more you kill the mystery that makes her curious in the first place. The Stoic man understands this dynamic instinctively. He knows that every word she says isn't a challenge to win. It's an opportunity to remain composed. When she flirts, he stays calm. When she tests him, he stays amused. When she opens up, he listens without trying to fix or analyze. He's not trying to manipulate the moment. He's simply allowing it to unfold naturally. And that's what draws her in. Because nothing attracts a woman faster than a man who's emotionally unshakable. Remember, when a woman wants you, she doesn't announce it. She invites it. Her curiosity becomes the bridge between emotional safety and physical desire. But if you rush across that bridge, it collapses. You must let her curiosity deepen, not through explanations, but through the subtle proof of your presence. So when she starts saying things like, "You make me feel calm," or "I like how comfortable this feels," that's not small talk. That's code. She's revealing her attraction in the only way that feels safe to her. And if you can read that code, if you can stay centered in that quiet tension, she won't have to tell you she wants you. Her words will already have said it for her. Section number 3. Attraction grows in the space you don't fill. The more a man tries to fill every silence, the faster attraction dies. Real desire doesn't bloom in constant noise. It grows in the gaps between words, in the tension of pauses, in the emotional space you allow her to miss you. A woman's attraction doesn't ignite because you give her attention every second. It ignites when your calm energy gives her room to wonder. Curiosity, after all, is the oxygen of desire. When you don't rush to fill every moment, you give her space to feel her own emotions. That's what most men don't understand. They think the secret is in what they say, when in truth, it's in what they don't. A Stoic man knows that silence isn't emptiness, it's pressure. It's where anticipation lives. Every second you let the conversation breathe, every moment you remain grounded while she fidgets or talks nervously, deepens the polarity between your calmness and her curiosity. Women crave that polarity. It's not about playing games or pretending to be distant. It's about emotional contrast. The more centered you are, the more her energy naturally flows toward you. She wants to feel your stillness because it balances her emotion. That's why a woman can talk for hours, but still feel deeply drawn to the man who speaks less, yet says more with his eyes, his tone, his posture. He's not feeding her attention. He's feeding her imagination. But here's where most men lose it. The moment they sense attraction, they start chasing it. They text more, talk more, explain more, thinking that if they show more interest, she'll mirror it. What actually happens is the opposite. The more you try to fill the silence, the more she senses insecurity. You remove her chance to feel the emotional pull of wondering about you. Desire fades when curiosity dies. The Stoic man doesn't fear distance. He understands that emotional space is not rejection. It's a natural part of attraction. He's not scared when she takes time to reply or seems slightly withdrawn. He stays patient because he knows that in that silence, her mind starts to replay his words, his calm tone, the look in his eyes. She begins to crave the emotional safety he provides, even when he's not around. That's when connection deepens. Attraction, like fire, needs oxygen. Too much closeness too soon smothers it. That's why restraint is not weakness, it's mastery. When you don't rush to fill the void, you allow her to lean into the feeling of wanting more. You create a rhythm: approach, retreat, stillness, return. This is how intimacy becomes magnetic rather than mechanical. So remember, your silence is not empty. It's charged. Your patience is not passivity. It's power. Every moment you resist the urge to over-explain or over-pursue, you become more mysterious, more confident, more unforgettable. The space you leave behind doesn't create distance, it creates depth. And that's where true attraction begins to live. Section number 4. When she tests you, she's searching for certainty. Every man who's ever dealt with women knows this moment: the sudden shift in tone, the cold reply, the sarcastic remark that catches you off guard. Most men take it personally. They think she's being cruel or losing interest. But here's the truth that separates the grounded from the reactive. When a woman tests you, she isn't trying to hurt you. She's trying to believe you. She's looking for proof that the calm confidence she senses in you isn't just an act. Tests are not rejection. They're emotional audits. They happen when she starts to feel something real. Because women don't trust words. They trust consistency under pressure. Every tease, every delayed reply, every small withdrawal is her subconscious way of asking, can I trust this man's stability when mine wavers? If you break character, panic, or chase, she gets her answer. And it's never the one you want. The Stoic man welcomes these moments. He doesn't flinch when tension appears. He recognizes it as the price of being masculine. When she pulls away, he doesn't chase her energy. He holds his own. He knows that true attraction isn't tested in comfort. It's tested in conflict. And the man who can stay calm while she storms emotionally is the man she will quietly respect for years. This doesn't mean you ignore her or act superior. It means you lead emotionally by refusing to let her chaos dictate your reaction. When she's distant, you stay composed. When she's sharp with words, you respond with calm. When she accuses, complains, or tests your limits, you don't retaliate. You observe. You let her emotional waves crash because you know that storms end faster when they meet still water. Most men fail because they make her emotions about themselves. They take every test as proof of failure instead of what it really is, an invitation to show strength. The moment you try to defend yourself too quickly or explain every misunderstanding, you trade authority for approval. You prove that her emotions control yours. And once that dynamic is established, respect fades. The Stoic man, however, stays still. He doesn't compete with her emotions. He contains them. His calmness isn't weakness. It's dominance through self-control. That's why silence, when used correctly, is more powerful than any argument. She can feel that you're not moved by panic or insecurity, and that's when her testing turns into trust. She realizes she's standing in front of a man who doesn't crumble when she's uncertain. Understand this. Women don't test to destroy. They test to discover. They want to see if your peace is real or temporary, and every time you pass that test with composure, her respect grows. She starts to see you as a man she can lean on, not manipulate. That's the paradox of attraction. The more you refuse to fight for approval, the more deeply she feels your worth. Section number 5. Confidence without control. The secret language of desire. There's a quiet power that separates men who attract effortlessly from those who constantly struggle for attention. It's not about looks, wealth, or charm. It's about energy. The kind of energy that says, I don't need to control anything because I already trust myself. That's real confidence. It doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It doesn't demand. It simply exists, calm, magnetic, unbothered. And ironically, it's the one quality that drives women crazy, because it communicates safety and mystery at the same time. When a woman feels that kind of confidence, she becomes drawn to you for reasons she can't fully explain. You make her feel grounded and excited simultaneously. She senses your steadiness, but she also senses your restraint. You don't rush to prove your interest or overcompensate with words. You let things unfold at their natural rhythm because you're not chasing control. You're maintaining balance. That's the difference between manipulation and mastery. Most men think control means dominance. They believe they have to lead every word, every move, every outcome. But true masculine leadership isn't about forcing direction. It's about guiding energy. The Stoic man doesn't control the woman. He controls himself in the presence of her emotion. He doesn't need her validation to act with confidence. His power comes from self-awareness, not performance. And because of that, she feels both free and safe around him, a paradox that fuels deep desire. Women are drawn to confidence that gives them space to be feminine. When she feels your calmness, she naturally softens. She laughs more easily, opens up emotionally, lets her guard down. That's because your energy tells her she doesn't need to compete for dominance. But the moment you start chasing reassurance or demanding affection, that safety collapses. She feels the weight of your insecurity, and desire begins to fade. Confidence without control means you understand the power of surrender, not to her, but to the moment. You trust your instincts. You let silence speak when words would only weaken the tension. You understand that attraction thrives on subtlety. The look you give her across the room, the pause before you answer, the way you stay composed when she pushes your buttons, all of that creates emotional electricity. It's a dance of patience, not pursuit. This is why women respect calm men more than aggressive ones. The calm man doesn't need to prove his strength because it's felt through his composure. When you stop trying to make things happen and instead allow them to happen, your energy becomes irresistible. You shift from seeking to attracting. The Stoic man's secret is this: he leads with presence, not pressure. He's confident enough to let go of control, and that very detachment becomes the language of desire. Because when a woman feels she can't predict you, when she realizes your emotions don't bend to her mood, she starts thinking about you when you're gone. Not because you said the right thing, but because your silence made her feel something real. Section number 6. Her desire deepens when you stay unavailable emotionally. Here's the paradox that most men never understand. The moment you become emotionally too available, attraction begins to fade. It's not because women dislike connection, it's because they crave polarity. Desire needs distance to breathe. When she can't fully read you, when your emotions remain calm and slightly out of reach, her imagination starts doing the work for you. She begins to wonder what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and what makes you so composed when most men would be unraveling. That curiosity becomes desire. A woman doesn't want a man who hides his feelings. She wants a man who masters them. There's a difference. Emotional availability doesn't mean emotional exposure. You can be open, honest, even vulnerable, but still grounded in control. When she says, "You're hard to read," what she's really saying is, "You make me feel something I can't predict." That's the foundation of attraction. Because mystery, not clarity, is what fuels her emotional fire. The Stoic man understands that being emotionally unavailable doesn't mean coldness. It means selectivity. You choose what parts of yourself to share and when. You don't dump your feelings on her to gain sympathy or connection. Instead, you express with precision and intention. Every word, every gesture, every silence carries meaning. That restraint creates gravity. She feels the weight of your presence without needing constant reassurance. Most men, however, try to earn intimacy by oversharing. They tell their entire life story within days, hoping vulnerability will accelerate connection. But what actually happens is the opposite. Mystery dies. When she knows everything, there's nothing left to feel. Women aren't drawn to transparency. They're drawn to depth. And depth means there's always something more to discover. When you give her just enough to feel close, but never so much that she feels she's figured you out. She becomes emotionally invested. She starts chasing understanding, not validation. That's why your restraint is not indifference, it's emotional leadership. When she expresses strong emotions, anger, passion, confusion, you stay composed. You let her feel without needing to fix or mirror it. Your stillness reminds her that her emotions are safe with you, but they don't control you. That's when she feels both challenged and comforted. Because every time you stay calm in her chaos, she feels that polarity intensify. You become the eye of her emotional storm, the quiet center she can't stop orbiting around. Emotional unavailability, when done with awareness, isn't cruelty, it's power. It's the ability to create emotional distance with warmth. It makes her lean closer, trying to bridge that gap, trying to earn what you don't give easily. And that pursuit, her desire to be seen by you, is what transforms attraction into obsession. So remember, she doesn't want to own your emotions. She wants to feel them through your control. Be expressive, but grounded. Caring, but contained. Kind, but distant enough for her to chase your calmness. Because in that space between your composure and her curiosity, desire doesn't fade, it deepens. At the end of it all, attraction isn't about lines, tricks, or timing. It's about energy. Every moment you've learned in this journey points to one timeless truth. Women aren't drawn to what you say, they're drawn to what you embody. The calm, the control, the quiet assurance that you don't need to be chosen to know your worth. That's what makes a man unforgettable. Not how quickly he wins her over, but how steadily he carries himself when the emotions around him shift. When a woman feels that energy, the grounded, unshakable peace of a man who respects himself, she feels something ancient awaken inside her. It's not lust, it's recognition. She senses leadership, direction, and safety in your silence. She realizes she's standing before a man who doesn't chase validation, because his validation is self-generated. That energy is rare. It's the reason why men who master themselves are always remembered, even long after they've walked away. Every signal she gives, every test she throws, every emotional storm she stirs. It all comes back to one question. Can I trust his strength? And the only answer that matters isn't spoken. It's lived. It's in your composure when she pulls away. It's in your patience when she's uncertain. It's in the way you stay calm when everything in her tries to make you react. That's what earns her respect. That's what makes her feel desire. Not your words, not your promises. Your restraint. The Stoic man doesn't chase pleasure. He creates presence. He doesn't need to dominate. He leads through balance. His worth isn't tied to a woman's reaction because it's already established within himself. That's why he moves differently. He speaks less, but says more. He listens without rushing to fill silence. He understands that attraction, like peace, can't be forced. It must be felt. In a world addicted to validation and constant noise, a man who is still, truly still, becomes magnetic.